Hello and welcome to the London Bulls Podcast with me, KD, and my good friend Tom. Tom, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I'm doing very, very well. We got someone else with us today.
Yeah, a new character on the screen, Mr. Jamie Klein, the man behind the podcast, the backbone. He's the midfielder that really gets everything turning, really, and he does some amazing work on making it look really nice and special for us. So, Jamie, really good to have you on the call. How are you doing? How does it feel to be on the pod?
I'm good. Some pre-match nerves, but yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, Jamie, we want to just know a bit more about you. I'm sure some of our listeners will want to know like a bit more about why you support Hereford, how you got in like to the London Bulls group. So, do you want to just give us a bit of a background into your kind of affiliation with the club?
Sure. So my mum grew up in Hereford. Her dad was actually a director for Hereford United in the 70s. So
Oh, wow.
his name was Henry Neild, a Polish guy who came over in World War II and somehow found his way to Edgar Street. But yeah, so my mum would have been up there in the Merton stand for that 1972 FA Cup replay against Newcastle. But yeah, I grew up in Surrey, went to Hereford 5, 6 times a year. Um, and so I went to the odd game there, but unless they were like traveling to Surrey way to see the likes of Woking or Aldershot, didn't get to go to too many games. But so yeah, unlike most Hereford fans, I've never lived in Hereford, but due to that family connection, there's a lot of love there. Yeah, and then since we reformed, I've dragged a couple of mates to games, gone with my brothers a few times. But yeah, I've always liked that community. So back in when we met in March time, it was sort of a long time coming, and yeah, haven't looked back.
It's a really great story. I'm sure a lot of London Bulls fans will actually maybe resonate with that. There may be a few people that have been the kids or grandkids of fans from Hereford. So, if you are a London Bull who's grown up here, you're more than welcome, as Jamie said, to join us. We're an amazing community, and we welcome everyone. And Tom, I know you wanted to touch on the membership. Do you want to just talk through that a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's just obviously we've mentioned before with our membership, just sort of signing up, putting your details, so we can sort of send you updates really, to let you know what's going on and what we're up to and things we've got planned. Obviously, we've got Warrington game coming up soon, that we're streaming on the 22nd of October. So that looking forward to that, despite I won't actually be there, but I'm sure you two are looking forward to it. I'll be in Portugal. Hopefully it's not going to rain. Um, and then obviously, excited because we're trying to have a Christmas party. But anyway, there you go. Bit of fun. I think that'll be. But yeah, and we've touched on it before with membership. I think it's important, as Jamie just said, really about that community um and feeling like there are other people around like you having a chat. And I remember that Alfreton game that we streamed last season, when I first met Jamie, and just obviously chatting and learning a bit about him and what he was doing there. It was it's great. And yeah, it is good laugh. It is good laugh. So if you can get yourself to that Warrington game at the Sport and Grill bar in Marylebone.
Yeah, that was a really nice day. We met Jamie as a stranger, and by the end of the night, we were hugging him.
Yeah, one of
So
our
the
best mates then, wasn't
the 3-3
And,
game.
and on the tube home.
Yeah,
he?
Tom, as you said, members can keep up to date with the latest news. And we do have some very amazing news to announce, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We've been nominated.
We've been nominated. Jamie, who we've been nominated by?
The non-league Bible.
The Non-League Bible. See that
Indeed.
incredible. Some really tough competitors in there as well. Some really big names that have been about for a few years.
Mm.
Boston have a group that have been nominated, Scunthorpe and Yeovil, so some real kind of big groups, and it's been a real honour to have been amongst them. So how are you guys feeling about
Mm. Yeah, just to be nominated is ridiculous. When he started, what is it, 7 months ago now? So to be nominated is just, yeah, we're not expecting to win, but it'd be great if people can vote for us, and we'll put obviously the details at the bottom of this video. But yeah,
Yeah, I think also being part of this, but not being on screen. And it is a testament to the great chat you guys have had over the last 6 months or so, and long may it continue.
I think it's how good you make us look, mate.
I was
It's a
just going
lot.
to say that you both are the biggest reason really why we have been nominated. Tom, the work you do behind the scenes to get the agenda together, to talk about the certain things we're going to talk about within that podcast, and Jamie, the amount of work you put into the visuals and the media side, that is one of the biggest reasons we've been nominated. So well done, both of you, both
100%.
to credit. And also, two other Hereford related people have been nominated. So Craig Anthony, our club photographer, has been nominated for Photographer of the Year, and Edgar the Bull for Mascot of the Year. So if you could also vote for those two, we'd be really grateful. It takes 2 seconds. You literally don't have to register, and we'd really appreciate that. I want to just also talk about, we had a really good chat with Ryan McLean, didn't we? We had an amazing interview. Do you want to just reflect on that a bit, Tom? Like, how did you find that?
Yeah, it was great. You never know how players are gonna, especially players who are still playing, how they're gonna talk and what they're gonna say and how honest they're gonna be, or not so much honest, but how much they'll give you. But I thought he was just very open, such a nice person. Chatting to him to try and set the podcast up, and talking to him since, thanking him obviously, and it's just he's just so down to earth. I think that's a testament to obviously his parents. He mentioned his dad a few times in the podcast, and he obviously, his dad obviously means a lot to him. So yeah, really nice guy, and really enjoyed having a chat with him. How about you, mate? How did you find it?
I'm not the same as me. I found him quite inspiring, to be honest. I mean, he talked about his time at Newcastle Town, and then, he was training with us when we got to that FA Trophy Wembley final, talking about the game against Portsmouth live on BBC. All his mates were watching, and then how he scored for Wimbledon against Coventry to knock them out, and then playing at Madueke at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. So he's had a crazy journey. It's just really inspiring, to be honest. And hopefully we can get him done for Christmas party. Now he's a London Bull,
Yeah, who knows?
So in this pod, we're going to touch on the last few games, reflect on some of the scores, and we're going to look at some of the upcoming fixtures and touch on a couple of the London Bulls events that Tom's mentioned. But guys, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that game against Bishop Stortford in the Cup. Not the result we wanted, sadly, out of the FA Cup now. How did you guys kind of reflect on that?
Go on, Jamie.
So living outside of Hereford, you're looking out for these games, aren't you? The FA Cup games, the FA Trophy as well, but really we love the FA Cup because we're Hereford. So I was doubly disappointed, really. It's gutting going out in an early round, but doubly disappointed because there's going to be fewer fixtures in and around London. I thought Cisse took his goal really, really well, but after that, it wasn't great, was it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But I felt like we played well for large portions of the game with a lot of the ball, but we just didn't create the chances in the first place. Really, we had a couple more chances we should have put away, and there was a disallowed goal. I've said a few of those where maybe it shouldn't have been disallowed, but it's an interesting one because obviously we were commentating, KD, so that was a bit of an odd experience. You had the first half, I had the second, so we weren't losing when you handed over, and we lost when for me finish off the game. So that's not so great on either of our records, but certainly not on mine. But no, it was frustrating, wasn't it? But when I forget the lad's name now, Jack. I can't remember his name now up front. Anyway, that came on for Bishop Stortford in the second half, absolutely ruined us. Nobody could deal with him. Even Player of the Month, Sammy Robinson couldn't really get near him. And with the goals, he set one up and scored one, and just did a bit of a Johnny Mills special chop, to get past us and slotted it in. Probably shouldn't have gone in, but fair dues to Bishop Stortford. They looked very good on the counter, and they made us pay. How about you, KD?
Yeah, mate. I mean, that experience with Keeple was quite surreal, to be honest. I mean, I literally grew up listening to the guy, and then to sit alongside him, you really appreciate how hard commentating is. Yeah. And I'm really sorry if I ruined the experience for a lot of listeners. God, I was struggling. I was really out of my depth. But I
you did for me, mate.
Yeah, oh God, it was one of the most amazing experiences. He was like poetry in motion. It was literally so bizarre watching a game with headphones on. but you really just appreciate the skill and the art of commentating. I honestly thought it was a terrible loss. That I mean, we lost so much potential income from FA Cup money, and it's a real shame we've gone out at that stage because I think Bishop Stortford also drew Braintree away in the next round, and that would have been such a good away day again for some London Bulls fans. That Rashawn Scott goal where they equalised, absolutely mental. That I mean, it was kind of David Beckham-esque, wasn't it? But I don't think he meant it, to be honest. And you touched on Sammy Robinson, the guys like Roberto Carlos, isn't he? I mean, that was an unbelievable performance he put in that game. He was literally involved in every attack we had, back defending. If we had 11 Sammy Robinsons on the pitch, we'd win the league, to be honest. I mean, he's that good. I really, really like him. And good, as you said, I think Jamie Cisse scored. He really liked scoring against Bishop Stortford. It was his third goal against him in 3 games. So really disappointing result. But, you know, I really hope we can take the FA Trophy seriously and go all the way to Wembley and win it.
Oh, I hope so. Be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean, I think Willow's goal was a good, well-worked goal for us as well. You know, it shows that we can do it. You know, maybe we haven't scored enough goals recently in the league. Certainly, obviously, we've had a few 0-0 draws and low-scoring games, and so maybe, you know, something's just not quite clicking there. But, you know, we haven't conceded that many goals either. That's what's frustrating about it. You know, especially with that Bishop Stortford game, to go and concede 3 goals. It's so unlike us this year. You know, and yeah, okay, as you said, Rashawn Scott's goal was just, you know, weird. And then from the halfway line, you know, and then especially with a 6'8" goalkeeper. And then, yeah, 2 well-worked goals in the second half for them, to be fair. And they came out and scored pretty quickly into that second half, like a minute in or whatever it was, if it was that. So we were still asleep, you know. I think that was clear. Just wanted to pick up on something you said, actually, KD, about being sat next to Keith Hall, because you're listening to him in the headphones, so you do think you're listening to the radio, and so you sort of switch off, like not from him, but you know, because you're just listening to him. It was a weird experience in that regard. I just wanted to say that.
Would either of you do it again?
Sorry?
Would either of you do it again?
Yeah, I would. But I would do a lot more preparation next time.
I would as well, definitely. I mean, it was really tough. I actually left with a headache, to be honest. Because honestly, I think you focus a lot more and you're concentrating so hard. I actually literally had a migraine on the train. Also, I wanted to touch on, we also arranged a little meetup for London Bulls fans before the game at the Nags Head, and I know a few people went for a few beers after. And this is something we do, you know, when we are playing a game locally, we will try and meet up at a pub near the ground and try and get some Bulls fans together. So it was nice seeing quite a few new faces, to be honest. And do keep an eye out, you know, if we have got a game coming up, maybe against Oxford City or what, I think Needham Market, there might be a few fans going. Just keep checking our social media pages to see if we're going to be doing a meetup that day. It'd be great to see as many fans as possible coming into this. Shall we touch on Alfreton? It sounded like a really entertaining game, 0-0 up there. Jamie, did you have any thoughts on it?
So I tuned in to Radio Hereford FC for parts of it. I was out and about, but I thought it was a really good result on paper. I think Tom, I remember I listened to the last podcast back, and you'd said we take a draw anyway. I agree with that. And when you're not carrying great form, or like performances haven't been incredible in recent games. Obviously, Bishop Stortford wasn't the result wasn't great, but and we're playing away against a team who are expected to be in the playoffs. I think, you know what, 0-0 and a clean sheet is probably giving the team a lot of confidence. So yeah, overall pleased. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, Alfreton are the traditional bogey side on it. It feels like everyone in this league is a bogey side. Like everyone in the National League North is a bogey team. But I mean, it's traditionally a team we probably struggle against. And I think it's a great point. We've obviously drawn quite a few games now in the league. But yeah, really happy with the clean sheet we had. I think we also had a goal ruled out for offside, which is a shame. You know, if that counted on that game against Kings Lynn, that goal against Kings Lynn counted, you know, we'd be, I think, second or third in the league and just 2 points off Scunthorpe. So real shame that we couldn't get the win there. but still happy with that point. And it's good to see Ty Deacon come in, that new signing. Obviously, I think we've maybe felt Montel Gibson leaving a bit more. We've been down to the bare bones, and, it looks like he's got a good background, come from Tamworth. He won the league last season, so he knows what it takes. And he's got a good goal scoring record at Kettering and Rushden and Diamonds. So hopefully we see a bit more of him over the next few games. And Tom, did you have anything you want to touch on in regards to Alfreton?
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I saw of the highlights, we were the better side, we did create a few chances and didn't quite put them away. Again, it is very disappointing to have that goal ruled out for offside when it doesn't really look as though it probably was. I think, as you mentioned with Kings Lynn, obviously that game, and if you think about the Chorley game as well, we missed a penalty. Willow missed a penalty quite late on. We would be joint top now, and with those now, you can say, yeah, what if? And maybe we shouldn't be relying. Not saying relying, we're not relying on it, but I think we've got to be scoring more goals, and we've got to be taking advantage. Kings Lynn, we were the better team. Alfreton, we were the better team. So we've got to take advantage of that, and that's something we're not doing. That said, okay, we're ninth, just outside the playoffs now, but we've still only lost one game. We've drawn 6. That's the problem. But look at the teams that we have drawn against, and we were joking just a second ago about I would have taken a draw, but you would, because Alfreton is such a hard place for us to go, that you would take a draw against them. You take a draw against Kings Lynn, especially with our home form at the time, and you take a draw against Chorley. We'd have taken a draw against Brackley as well, but we got the win there. So the teams that we've played, really, I think, are going to be the teams that will be up there. Might not all be at the moment still, but I think they will get there. It's those games against Peterborough that, and Radcliffe and obviously Needham Market, you take a point against Needham Market now in that game that we lost, just so we hadn't lost and got an extra point on it, and so there's lots of what ifs and football is like that, isn't it? And the result is what the result is. I think Hereford are playing well. We just can't quite find that final pass, I think, a little bit, but we're defending well. And, I think I've got it here somewhere where, we're the 6th highest scorers in the league. And we've got the second best goal difference, sorry. So, it does show we've maybe conceded a couple too many goals, but we really haven't, and I think Sammy Robinson's done a great job. Matt Preston's been great. Carl Haykins has been great. I just think we've got a good bunch of lads there, and I think we have missed Montel Gibson without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, you're right. It's about being more clinical, isn't it? And maybe with the return of Jason Cowley over the next few months, we'll start to maybe turn those draws into a few more wins. And Jamie, I wanted to get your kind of view on where we are right now in terms of the season as a whole. Like, are you happy with where we are? Do you think we should be higher than we are? What's your thoughts?
I don't like to look at the table this early, especially when you're not top of it. But I think when you're not, particularly the games, I think Paul Caddis has said this a few times in his post-match interview, when you're not playing that great, try not to get beat. And if you're not, like, Brackley is a good example where we sort of grinded out a result and then last minute got a winner. So if we get a few more of those matches, like you say, I know it's easy to speculate. I think playoffs it feels like a stronger team from last season, which is a huge progress. And obviously we started the season with like quite a deep squad, lots of competition for places, and then it's injuries happen, and I don't know if we've had more or less than the average team in the league, but it feels like it's shaken in every single position. Defence, attack, midfield. We've not had the same lineup 2 games in a row, so that's probably shaken the team up a bit. But yeah, not getting beat is good mentally. So I'm quite pleased about where we are. Don't like to say, 9th doesn't sound great to me, but it feels like we're doing well.
It's very tight in the league at the moment, though.
I remember Caddis last season saying he doesn't look at the table till February. which I find really interesting because I kind of look at it every day.
Yeah.
I'm sure he must have. I don't know if he's kind of pulling our leg there. And let's look at our upcoming fixtures. So we've got the rearranged game against Buxton this Saturday. How do you think we'll do? So they're 16th in the league. They're on 12 points, which is only 3 behind us, and they lost to Curzon on Saturday. So what are your thoughts going into that game? How do you think we'll do, and what do you think the score will be? So Tom, I'll start with you.
I think it'd be a hard game. I think I feel like I say that every podcast as well, but it's not. It's a tough place to go. It's a tough ground. It's 1,000 meters or whatever above sea level. It's just different. It's just a totally different kettle of fish up there. And they are 16th, but this is what I was saying a second ago, really, just in response to what you said, Jamie, which is such a tight league that we're really not that far off. That obviously the playoffs, we're not far off at all. But we're not that far off down as well. I don't think we'll be down there, but we could be for a week or two. And I just think it's important people don't lose their heads on that one. But it's going to be a hard game. I'm gonna say it. I take a draw.
I think that's sensible, because I think we actually had Adam Livingston, didn't we? And he moved there for full-time football. So I think they are still a full-time outfit. I'm not sure about this season, but they've got some serious resource behind them. Jamie, how do you think we'll get on against Buxton?
I mean, I don't think there's any easy games in this league, and there's full-time sides, there's part-time, there's some who have 3G pitches, some who have dodgy pitches. Some people sign a load of players the day before a game. There's just so many unknowns. So I think, I heard Matt Preston, so I'm alluding to another interview. Matt Preston in an interview saying that we just focus on ourselves. And I think that's such a good attitude to have. And if we can build some momentum from that, sounds silly, from that 0-0 at Alfreton, we genuinely seem to be playing better away than we are at home as well. And I know we've got a lot of away matches coming up. So the optimist in me thinks that we should be trying to beat or outplay a side like Buxton. So if we're going to be in the playoffs end of the season, we should be close to getting a result in a match like that. But you're not pushing me for a prediction, are you?
We are, yeah. That's exactly it.
1-0 Hereford.
Love that.
What about you, KD?
Tom, I actually wanted to touch on your point about Buxton and their altitude. So they are actually the highest ground in the country. And I got into a bit of a spiral online looking at games that have had the highest altitudes in history. So Brazilian club Flamengo actually used bottled oxygen during a Copa Libertadores game against Real Potosí in Bolivia. Because that was 11,000 feet above sea level. So Paul Cadiz, make sure you get that bottled oxygen. It could make all the difference. And it actually does, So Bolivia in 2009 thrashed Brazil 6-1. And the Brazilian players were described as breathless and were desperate for air, as that stadium was 3,600 meters above sea level too. So it really does, it really can give you an advantage. There is actually a FIFA ruling that if your stadium is above 2,500 meters, you have to go to that city a week before to acclimatise. So get the boys down there now, get them up in Buxton, make sure they get used to that air. But hopefully it's not a 6-1 drubbing. I'm going to go with what James said and hopefully go for a 1-0 win. Should we?
Okay, who's getting the goal, guys?
I'd love to see Adam Rooney score again. I know you got a few pre-season. I was getting quite excited about his goal threat. So
I think Stanley Robinson.
40 yards.
Yeah, a free kick from him or something.
I do too. The cap off that player of the month,
Who did you say, Tom? Who would you like?
Well, I think it's going to be a draw. So if I say 0-0, I haven't got to say anybody. I'm like, no. I mean, I think it's not that I think it'll be a draw. I would take a draw. I don't know if we turn up and we play like we did against Alfreton and Kings Lynn, we could genuinely get the result. But we've got to score, and obviously, that's easier said than done for us this season. So, yeah, I'd like to win. I'll go 1-0 as well. And Chapman.
Love that. You'll score from a corner when you're a header.
Yeah.
You won't even have to jump with you. Right, guys, so we've got a massive game after that against Curzon. Ashton. Got so many away games.
Mm-hmm.
So many away games. Traditionally a tough side. And are they a bogey team? I think they've always been juicy encounters with Curzon, haven't they?
50-50.
What do we know about them then, Tom? What are we thinking?
Got a clue? No. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, they are second in the league, so they're doing something right this season. They we obviously we got the away form, as we've said before, a lot of away games at the moment, and we have got to take advantage of that, as Jamie was alluding to. They did beat Buxton on Saturday, so I think it'd be interesting to see how we get on against Buxton, to how then we might get on against Curzon Ashton. But they're a good side. They're still in the cup. They're not in the cup, are they? Sorry, that's why we're playing them. So yeah, I think it's they're in the cup. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting really confused now. Just edit that out when you get there, Jamie. No, so they're still in the cup. They beat Southport. So they'll obviously be playing that in the cup this weekend. But yeah, good side, as I say, and they're doing the right things. But they do tend to run out a little bit of steam. So hopefully it's an off day for them, and we can get a good result.
Nice. And Jamie, what are you thinking?
Admittedly, don't know loads about Curzon Ashton, but I think you generally expect away games against tough teams. You come away with a draw, like Tom said. I don't think it's not being boring as a fan or lowering your expectations. I think that's, even if you're winning the league, you probably think like that. So again, I'd take a draw there, so long as we're winning our home games when we get some home games back next month.
Yeah, as I said, it's a very juicy affair with them. Last season, we actually beat them 3-1 at home, and there are 3 red cards. Hopefully, we don't get any red cards, and hopefully they get 3 again. Their danger man is Adam Barton. He's their top scorer with 2 goals, despite them being second, which is really interesting. So, they're threats all over the pitch. Interestingly, for people that have gone up to Curzon before, they've got a statue of 3 World Cup winners that have been born near the ground. Those are Jeff Hurst, Jimmy Armfield, and bizarrely Simon Perrotta, who won the World Cup with Italy in 2006. So very bizarre stat there. I don't know why they've created statues there outside of the nation, but there's a really cool kind of niche thing they've got. And then we move on to Warrington, another away game, Tuesday night. Tom, I'm going to come to you because I don't know much about Warrington, so you can maybe touch on some of that.
I'm clearly not showing my knowledge of these teams, am I? Because I got a whole muddle about Curzon Ashton. Yeah, I mean, Warrington are down there, the 19th, but they're on 10 points. They're only 5 behind us. It's not like crazy, but they have struggled, and they've drawn. They haven't won in their last 5 league games. They've drawn 3 of them and lost 2. So it could be another draw on the cards, but I'm hoping for a better result. I think we should get a better result up there. Yes, it's a Tuesday night, but it's not that far from a good chunk of the players and of our players, so they don't have to travel very far. At least it's not a Blythe or I know they're not in our league, but that's a Darlow or something. Yeah, I'm positive about that one. That's like Jamie was saying, really, there are games we have to and should be winning this season. This has to be one of them. No disrespect to Warrington, but if we do want to be up there, we've got to win. Well, we've got to start winning games because we're drawing too many.
Yeah, definitely. And Jamie, how are you feeling about Warrington away?
What was your score prediction, Tom?
I'll tell you at the
end. I mean, we're streaming this in the pub. It's the Warrington game, isn't it? So I think it'll be a 5-4 win for Hereford. And,
love that.
Many goals as possible. No, genuinely, we would love to see an entertaining game. I don't know what we'll get. I think the last, was it streamed last year? I think I remember watching that on my couch. It was very, very windy.
Well done.
So I don't know what the weather's like in Warrington later this month, but as long as it's not too windy. Yeah, I mean, you'd think we can go away to Warrington and win. That's not the arrogance of Hereford coming out. It's what you would expect for a team in the playoffs. So yeah, 5-4 Hereford.
Nice. I love that. Very brave scoreline there. I really enjoyed. I went up there last season. We did the double over them, 1-2-1. I think it was our last away game of the season. Took a really good following. Actually went up with our man Nick Jones, who's been helping London Bulls fans with discounted tickets to away games. And I should have said, actually, he is supporting people who would like to go to the Curzon Ashton game. So if you do want a discounted rate, I think it's about £6, which is unbelievable. It's actually more expensive for me to go to work within London than to this Curzon game away. So really make the most of this offer if you can, because it's unbelievable. Yeah. And as you said, Tom, I think we really should be winning this. I think we've had quite a few away games in a row by then, but I think we'll probably sneak 1-0 win. I can't see it being 5-4, Jamie. I don't know. I think the players might be too tired from all the travelling, but I'd love to see that possible.
I'm getting a bit confused here. So Jamie's turned into you. You've turned into me. I don't know what I'll have to go. Really, Warrington win 8-0. I don't know what to say anymore. Like, I think it'll be 3-1. That's my prediction on the score, by the way. To us, obviously.
Nice.
Yeah. We're now going to go into Memory Corner, my favourite part of the pod. And I think this was selected by Jamie, wasn't it? Jamie, what game did you choose?
Yes, it was funny when looking back at some of the other games people have chosen. I think Stig chose the playoff win. We've touched on some legendary games. So I've chosen the Slough Town game from 2018. Which was a really fun match. I went to it. Really, really good match to go to. Had everything. Had absolutely everything. Did either of you go?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, I was there. It's actually mad all three of us were there. And we didn't come across each other. How bizarre is that?
Great, yeah.
So
it's actually really scary. That was 6 years ago as well. How scary is that? What the hell kind of thing?
Bad.
What were your memories of the game then?
I without going into going through the whole match, I remember the celebrations at the end were wild, and I remember someone picking up a bin or something and running through the stand. I don't know where the bin came from, but yeah, and the goal was down the other end, and it just, I don't know, great scenes. They're my memories.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I just remember it being cold because obviously it was the beginning of January, and I just remember it being really cold that day, and the football was terrible.
Yeah.
And I just remember standing there, and then we were 2-0 down. It's like, oh, what was the point of us coming? I was with my dad, and he still maintains to this day that we never actually went to that game. So I don't know if he's just wiped it from his memory because it was that bad. But obviously, we got those 2 goals in the last, was it the 93rd and 90-something 6th or something minutes. I mean, just crazy. Great goal by Jimmy Oates, wasn't it? But yeah, a bit of a scramble, I think, at the end, and like a bit of a toe poke by Ken Rafar, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. I think it's probably the coldest game I've ever been to. I remember I was actually crying ice. I'm not even joking. It was so cold. One unbelievable game there was, and you talked about coming back from 2-0 down. We actually had 10 men, didn't we? I think it was maybe Elliot Richards who had to go off because of an injury, and we used all 3 subs. Was there anything with the referee as well, linesman? I think someone was injured and they pulled their hamstring and they had to call on the tannoy if anyone asked. I think it was Alan Meredith who had to step up and help finish the game off. But yeah, unbelievable. And you look at that squad we had, you really appreciate. We were really spoiled in those years, weren't we? We were just so used to winning, right? I mean, I think that was our 51st game away unbeaten. We had an unbelievable run that, and the attendance 1,561. That's crazy for that level. Southern Premier, it's unbelievable.
Half of them must have been us.
It must have been. But I think did you were saying you've seen the highlights? It was absolutely packed. I think we were like their cup final in a way, weren't we, during those days? Like going to small places and stuff. And obviously Slough's just outside London, and that's probably a really good game for London Bulls to get to. Obviously, you went down, Jamie, but if you were there as a London Bull, let us know what your memories were. What did you remember from that game if you went down to it? But yeah, really, really interesting game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and as you say, some great players. Look, think about the team that we had. Probably would have beaten some of the teams in previous seasons that we've had. You had a Horsal in goal, obviously Jimmy Oates. You had Cam Pring, who's playing every week for Bristol City now. Rafael was a great player. Dan Preston was a good player. Jack Damon, Garen Preen. I used to love Garen Preen running down that wing. He was so good, and then he got knocked out at was it the Eastleigh game? He got knocked out at.
Yeah,
And then obviously Elliot Richards, as you said, who obviously went off injured. You had Millsy, Pablo, Simo. Even the bench, the three lads we brought on was Greener, Purdy, and Lance Smith. Who were great for us. I mean that, as I say, I think that team would have definitely beaten, some of the maybe even last season's team, but certainly the last few years, and and what have you, and the teams that we had when Russell Slade was here, or was it Mark? To Tim Payne and Mark. Was it Mark Richards? I can't remember, to be honest, because I've tried to wipe those guys from my actual memory, but because it's a bit of a dark day for us, a bit of a dark time. But yeah, great memories, and that was epitomised that season and that team, and I think it's one of those results has got us to the title.
Yeah, you're not doing too badly in the Southern Premier when you got Ryan Green and Purdy on the bench, are you?
True. Bench. Very true.
That is ridiculous. I mean, we had such a good squad, right? I remember that season. I think we that was the season we played against Fleetwood, and we drew up their League One side, almost beat them, and we could have played Leicester in the third round. So some amazing times with the squad, some really good players there. And thank you, Jamie, for selecting that. It was really, really good memory.
Yeah,
and back from 2-0 down. I think that's it, guys. Isn't it? Is there any final words you want to say? How did you find the experience, Jamie?
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm really excited for the Warrington game. Really excited for the Christmas party. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's been quite an unnatural experience. I'm used to being behind the camera, so not behind the camera, behind the laptop.
In front of the camera, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's been great to have you on, mate. It's been good to hear your insight into the last couple of games and the next few games. And as Katie said, cheers for picking Slough, mate. It was good memories, good day. As you mentioned, we've got obviously the Warrington stream coming up at the in Marylebone and on the 22nd of October. So details will be below. Make sure you sign up, Eventbrite, and then the Christmas party, KD.
Yeah, massive day, Thursday, 12th of December. Get it in the diaries now. Clear whatever you've got planned for that night and the morning after, because you're going to need it.
Yes.
An incredible pod. Thanks for coming along, Jamie, and thanks, Tom, again. Really enjoyed it tonight. And thank you all for listening. Without all of you, we wouldn't have been nominated for that award, and we're really grateful for all of you for your support. You've all been absolutely brilliant. So,
and details of the vote will also be down below.
Will be, to make sure you vote.
Make sure you vote.
Have a good rest of your week, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.